Welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel, to the Fartcoin holders. I know, guys, this sounds like a joke, but I promise you this is not a joke. This is a reality. We're going to be analyzing and taking a look at what's happening with Fartcoin and, of course, what we could be expecting as far as the price is concerned. Insane amount of requests coming in. And, of course, crypto Twitter has literally lost its mind over, Fartcoin, the way it's performing. We're going to analyze and really sit together and see what's happening and, what we could be expecting. This is going to be a very interesting update. So again, if you are interested in these types of updates, smash that like button down below. But looking across the market, I'm sure at this point, if you follow my channel on a regular day-to-day basis, you guys know what's happening. I've been keeping you guys updated. But if not, if this is your first time coming onto the channel, welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel, or welcome to the Crypto ZX channel. Would love to have you guys part of the army by hitting that red subscribe button and turning your bell icon below so you are notified every time I upload. But looking across the board, of course, we are seeing the market bouncing, but just a quick reminder, if you're looking at, the weekly and the monthly time frame, the broader market is still down quite substantially, but Fartcoin up 131% over the last 1 month, and over the last 1 week up 21%. So, it's seeing a lot of excitement and a lot of interest. But before we get into any further, as always, just a quick disclaimer, anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in cryptocurrencies. So, looking at the price of Fartcoin, 58.1 cents, up 36.8% in USD, up 31% in Bitcoin comparative, valuation approaching $600 billion. I'm sorry, $600 million, not billion. And the 24-hour trading volume at about $372.6 million. What a time to be alive right now. Such comical stuff that's happening. While the entire market is bleeding, you're looking at a name coin, Fartcoin, that is literally leading the market, which again is so funny to me. But, it's a Solana meme coin. So are we about to see a complete shift happening? Is Fartcoin really about to become, that blue chip coin in the meme coin? Again, it can't get any bigger meme than, or funnier than, a coin named Fartcoin specifically, right? And has the AI narrative to it as well. But look at it. Just look at the momentum. I'm showing you guys, obviously the last, few days. And, you could pretty much go all the way down, but you'll have to go all the way down to, this random coin that I've never heard of. That is the one that's after Fartcoin that's up in the last 7 days. But pretty much, if you're looking right now, Fartcoin is the only coin in the top 20, 25 that is up in the last 7 days, 24 hours, and in the last 1 hour. So major amounts of momentum on its side. We've seen, if you've been following, the Solana cycle, if you've been following the meme coin cycle, we've seen a lot of different meme coins that have gone to billions of valuation. Fartcoin is one of them. It actually reached crazy valuations. It's all-time high. We're going to kind of touch base a little bit more later on in terms of the price itself. But, we've seen a lot of, shuffling around, for Solana-based meme coins. We've seen Bonk, Fartcoin, we've seen Boom, we've seen, Dog with Hat, we've seen, Pudgy Penguins, we've seen, Cat and Dogs World. I'm just trying to name some, Mog, Peanut, Giga Chad, A16Z, a lot of meme coins that have shuffled back and forth, with crazy valuations, but, of course, have plummeted substantially, with what's happening with the markets. But you're pretty much seeing, Fartcoin making up such a huge recovery. So what's really happening? Is it, really starting to, kind of label itself as, that blue chip? Maybe, again, only time is going to tell. At the end of the day, remember, you need to treat meme coins like meme coins. Absolutely, they bring zero utility, zero real-world use case. It's all speculation, supply and demand. And of course, right now, Fartcoin has that demand factor for itself, which could help itself. But again, when you see these explosive types of, gains, you want to lock those profits in. I promise you, don't get greedy. Let this be a learning lesson. Look at PopCat, look at Boom, look at GigaChat, look at A16Z, look at Millennia Coin, Neuro Coin. The list goes on and on. There's multiple coins out there that have reached crazy valuation but are literally sitting at below 100 million market cap. So those are things that I will like you guys to keep in mind. But let's take a look at what's happening with Fartcoin right now, and of course what we could be expecting. And again, if you want to see more of these updates, do let me know in the comments down below, because that shows me that you guys are interested in these types of updates. But anyhow, if you're looking across the dominance itself, apologies for that, you are seeing the dominance picking up. Of course, obviously we did plummet down over the last 24 hours, but it's still really high in a grand scheme of things. BTC right now, if you're looking at Bitcoin, again, obviously a little bit of a bounce. We did hear some sort of negotiations that could be occurring, with some countries and, the U.S. regarding the tariffs, which of course has had a positive impact on the markets. But again, in a grand scheme of things, I've stated a lot in a lot of my other updates. I think there's a lot of other factors we need to consider. And even though, we are seeing the market bouncing right now, I think, we need to be focusing on some of the other factors before we can start jumping around in excitement. But of course, Bitcoin bouncing itself has had a positive impact. But Fartcoin, that's what I really want you guys to talk about here. That's what we want to talk about and really understand what's happening. So, Fartcoin was originally launched October of last year, so it hasn't even been in the market for a year. And, a lot of people made millions of dollars. Like, a lot of people made crazy amounts of money off of this coin. If you caught this sometime in, October or November, just before the Donald Trump won the election. Let's just say you got it on Halloween. Let's say, you were like, Fartcoin sounds funny and I have maybe $100 to lose. I've done my due diligence research and wanted to invest that money that I can afford to lose. If you did, guess what? Fartcoin went up 10,440%. Like I said, you saw people making millions of dollars just in a span of such a short time, and it reached a price of $2.75. I cannot make this up. And of course, since then, obviously the top back in January for a lot of coins. If you somehow got out of that range, give yourself a pat on the back, because this thing fell down 91.5%, guys. 91.5%, pretty much retesting December levels, pretty much where it started. So you literally wiped out all the gains. So again, going back to what I've said, yes, Fartcoin could be looking exciting right now. It's doing a lot of good numbers, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, meme coins, are known for volatility. And if you don't lock in profits, someone else is not going to be waiting for you to lock in profits. Because I see hundreds of comments coming in on a regular day-to-day basis. Well, we're not going to be locking in profits. It's not a good thing to lock in profits. Why do you talk about locking in profits? Because I'll never do that. But then, that's great. If you think you don't want to lock in profits, it doesn't mean that, some other big whale that is sitting on the sidelines not going to just be waiting for you. They're not going to be waiting for you. They're going to lock in profits if they want to. And then that causes a snowball effect. And of course, prices could drop the way, we are seeing. But with that said, again, you're starting to see where, the hype factor is coming. Right at the neckline, it obviously got supported around this, March level. And anyone that, picked up at the support itself at 20 cents, you did see an increase of 200% already. And I know a lot of people are going to come out and say, well, it has come down so much, this is not really good. But if you kind of look at Pepe, Pepe's early beginnings, Pepe did something similar to, reached crazy valuations, and then, it plummeted quite significantly, and then, it pumped up like crazy. So are we about to see something similar happening to Fartcoin? We can speculate. Obviously, right now, the shift that, we're seeing in momentum, the decoupling against the broader market, it kind of has that for itself, because again, confirmations, we look for confirmations. If you're looking at it on a monthly time frame, if you're looking at it on the weekly time frame, it is showing a strength right now. And if you're noticing right now, we actually did see the price being retested at this key resistance at 62.3 cents on March 26th. So of course, we did see Fartcoin reacting in a negative way, just a few days back down to 35 cents. It's not going to obviously be an exception, but look at the way it recovered. It's pretty much back to the March closing levels, which again is really interesting to see and shows you the significance of this momentum right now. And if you see this breakout while we are seeing the market showing a little bit of strength, if you see this breakout out of this key resistance, you could see the price making its way up to the psychological dollar price point quite fast. And after that, pretty much, if the volume is on the side, things can really move up very fast for Fartcoin. Some people are bringing in crazy price predictions on Fartcoin. And again, I think one step at a time, but who knows what can happen? Maybe this is, that next big meme coin. Who knows? And maybe this is going to trigger a major meme coin rally again, because we haven't really seen a meme coin rally like the ones we have seen November, December, and obviously January, or of course in 2024 we saw multiple different meme coins ripping like crazy. We haven't really seen some sort of excitement like that coming in, but is Fartcoin really going to lead? We'll see what happens. Let me know down below what you guys think. Right now, if you are a Fartcoin holder, you want to be watching out for the 63 cents key resistance. If this is able to break out, I really think things could look exciting. But with that said, remember, treat it as a meme coin. Don't get emotionally attached to it. Lock those profits in when you see them. We'll see you later in Crypto ZX, and peace out.